inyo. Narinig niyo na.
Hello guys and welcome back sa Room 666 and panibagong reaction, panibagong video na naman ang hihimayin natin sa araw na to. Kung hindi ka pa nakasubscribe, please subscribe to my channel guys. Road to 100k na tayo, please tulungan nyo ako guys na makuha yung silver play button natin. So, ang i-react natin ngayon ay kung nakita nyo sa thumbnail natin, malamang nakita nyo na ay tungkol sa mga prophecies ni Nostradamus ngayong 2021. Na-post ng video na to ni Madam Leonor Clay 6 months ago I guess. So before tayo pumunta sa ating video ay shoutout muna tayo. Shoutout kay Dong Koy, Sara Arevalo, Andrew Santos, kay Mark Gumopas, Roy Tam, Hinata Yusiki, Jello Ferns, Boxing Ball Nation, Cedaria Pogi, Jeffrey Hipolito, Jose Paulo Santos, Jeffrey De Guzman, J.Y. Love, Marites Guevara, Henry Brooks, and sa tropa natin na si Dărc Allen. Kung ano kayo guys kung teki-teki kayo and mahilig kayo sa computer, sa mga trending, ano bang meron nyo sa computer, visit nyo, search nyo lang Dărc Allen. Nagbibuild siya ng mga computers and mapapawaw talaga kayo sa mga binibuild niya guys. Tropa natin to si Dărc Allen. Search nyo lang Dărc Allen. Grabe guys, mapapawaw kayo sa computers na binibuild ni Dărc Allen. So, wag na natin patagalin to. Let's start.
On February 21st, 2020, we uploaded a different video to our channel. In that video, I showed you a small fragment that made reference to a quartet of Nostradamus, written hundreds of years ago by this popular prophet. The catastrophe that we had to live this 2020 with the coronavirus. I never thought that in his book of prophecies there would be another additional quartet that would reflect what supposedly is about to happen in 2021. The accuracy with which he describes the events of 2020 will make you think that perhaps the events that will occur next year will be even worse.
So, sinasabi lang dito na meron pang parating na sakuna. And I think nakita nyo naman yung sa India. And lahat ito daw ay naisulat ni Nostradamus. Kumbaga, COVID Part 2. Huwag naman sana, no? Kasi bumababa na at nahihirapan na yung mga tao eh. Pinapahirapan nyo palalo. Alam nyo naman kung sino yung tinutukoy ko. Pinapahirapan nyo palalo yung mga tao. Ganyan sila kaganid, guys.
Get ready because what you're about to see may turn into an eventuality that will make us all think that 2020 was nothing and that the real terror is about to begin. My name is Leonor Clay, and this is The Darkest Secret.
Gaya ng sabi ni Leonor Clay na nung 2020 is nothing. Kung magdedire-diretso to, saan na tayo pupulutin? Diba? Please don't stop to pray na sana matapos na tong pandemic na to. Sana itigil na to. Hindi na maganda nangyayari.
Today we present Nostradamus' creepy prediction for 2021. There is no doubt that this 2020 has turned out to be one of the worst years in recent times. Never in 100 years, perhaps even in the history of humanity, has a pandemic put at risk and on alert every country on the planet. Undoubtedly catastrophic events that, according to the followers and researchers of Nostradamus' work, are strongly related to his poetic quatrains written for the first time in 1555 when his book called The Prophecies was published, informing the occurrence of future events. In the book, researchers were surprised when they read and concluded the predictions regarding the start of the Second World War, the rise of Hitler, and the fall of the Twin Towers. Events described with almost impossible precision.
See guys kung gaano ka-accurate yung hula ni Nostradamus. Nahulaan niya yung pananakop ni Hitler, pati sa Twin Tower.
And since our last video on those predictions, you could also testify that his 2020 quartet was also right. The Great Plague of the Maritime City. It will not cease until the death of the just blood is avenged, condemned for a price without crime.
Think parehas to nung video na ginawa ko. Maybe. Yung video ko naman kasi, may prediction din ako doon na ginawa. Hindi, yung prediction na ginawa. Inano ko rin yung prediction ni Nostradamus. And about naman yun sa kung paano magiging posible yung pagkakaroon ng zombie, no? Scientifically, pinaliwanag ko kung papaano. And maaring inaan pa yun, more research para maisakatuparan yung ganong klaseng idea. Pero possible guys. Meron akong video nun, kung gusto nyo panoorin nyo, search nyo lang Room 66 tapos zombie, lalabas na siguro yun.
In that video, we concluded that the phrase, the Great Plague of the Maritime City, is nothing more than a direct mention of the Chinese city of Wuhan, a city that, although it is far from the coast, it is known that the virus emerged in a seafood market, having there its connection with the sea. It is also mentioned that the plague will not cease until the death of the righteous blood is avenged, which could refer to the entire animal holocaust that for centuries we have been carrying out, treating the rest of the animals as mere plants, sacrificing them to serve us as mere resource without any other value, condemning them at a gigantic price, without having incurred any crime. One more evidence that is added to the list of prophecies that this man managed to decipher almost 500 years ago. However, the reason this video gathers us is because of the existence of an additional quartet that, according to the analysts and scholars of these prophecies, refers to events that are about to occur this 2021.
So parang sinasabi ni Leonor na may mangyayari na naman bago matapos ang taon. Ano kaya yun? Abangan natin guys. Pero sana naman hindi mangyari kasi grabe na talaga ginagawa sa atin.
Let me say that the objective of this video is not to depress you nor to frighten you, but I feel that my duty is to inform you.
Guys, wag kayong papatalo sa depression, sa anxiety. Kasi maraming, yan talaga yung target yung goal kumbaga ng pandemic, na panghinaan kayo ng loob. Sige, siguro hanggang sa masiraan na kayo ng ulo. Guys, huwag kayo masisiraan ng pait. Anxiety, stress, alisin nyo yan. Manood kayo ng mga videos na nakakatuwa, or mga videos na magpapalawak ng isipan nyo para maintindihan nyo kung ano yung nangyayari sa mundo. Nang sa ganun, hindi kayo yung parang nanguhula lang, 'di ba? Research on your own. Kapag nag-research kayo ng sarili nyo, well, makakatulong yun. And don't forget to pray. Laging nandiyan lang ang Panginoon sa itaas. Huwag nyo kakalimutan guys. Manalig lang.
So that you are the one who decides how to best interpret what you're about to hear. According to the scholars of his book, Nostradamus would have predicted the next year would be far worse than the year that is now ending. His writing was as follows. Few young people, half dead to begin with, dead out of spite.
Ito din guys yung kinote ko. And, disclaimer lang guys gaya ng sinabi ko, scientifically ko in-explained. And, meron akong video doon na nasa court sila, may conference sila sa US to ang tawag doon, top secret ba tawag doon? Basta hindi nila tinutukoy kung ano talaga yon, na nag-fund sila ng pera para doon sa mangyayari na yon, mga flesh eating. Hindi sinabing tao, hindi sinabing hayop yung flesh eating na yon. 'Di ba ang creepy guys? May video yon guys, do sa video ko nilagay ko. Imagine that. Kung flesh eating tapos hindi hayop, ano yun? And mismo yung speaker, napa-Jesus na lang siya habang binabasa niya yun. Kasi on the spot binigay lang sa kanya yun and binabasa niya. Jesus na lang siya.
In an exalted place, great evils will occur. Sad concepts will come to harm each one. Temporal fathers and mothers, dead of the infinite pains, women in mourning, a pestilential monster. The great one will be no more. The whole world will end. Many say that here Nostradamus was wrong, that this quartet is related to what we actually experienced during the current year, 2020. That the expression, a pestilential monster, refers to the pandemic, and in reference to the phrase, a place exalted, great evils will occur, could be related to the great social outbreaks that occurred in several countries, including the United States. Outbreaks in which its citizens incurred as a result of police brutality, as well as the political polarization that emerged from the recent presidential elections, or bad decisions in the face of the health crisis. Phrases that fit very well with what has happened this year. However, the most knowledgeable about Nostradamus' work assure that this quartet speaks of what we will begin to live next week with the arrival of 2021, auguring that for humanity even more complicated times are ahead. With the phrase the whole world will end, it does not refer to a catastrophic event worldwide, but it appeals to the established order, to the current society that has governed until now. That order established on the basis of hierarchies will simply end, giving way to something completely new, and for that same reason, unpredictable. The phrase that appeals to few young people, half dead to begin with, dead out of spite. It refers to these new generations due to the already disastrous inflated economy, plus the health crisis. They are increasingly depressed, more preoccupied by not being able to live or develop normally. Higher studies that extend for years, price of unattainable homes. Hundreds of debts have transformed the youngest, the new generations, young people with a resentful heart. Some think that the phrase, sad concepts, really refer to the fact that the youth population is going to decrease dramatically. However, for experts, this is the sign of an evident cultural decline among the younger population, where fanaticism for a certain ideology will cloud common sense. Nostradamus predicts a very great economic crisis that will shake the entire planet. a process that, according to some, we are already experiencing, not only to job losses resulting from the pandemic, but also due to the fierce trade war between the United States and China, countries that for some time have been competing to lead the.
So, alam niyo naman guys, isa siguro sa mga video na sumikat sa akin is yung about dito nga sa US and China. Maraming nagalit syempre kasi maraming may galit sa China na Pinoy, 'di ba? Pero yung paliwanag ko nandun naman sa video. Alam niyo naman yun.
Financial destiny of the entire world. The worst of all is that the quartet is not only the phrase you just heard, it is followed by this. What do you think this means? Could we be close to the emergence of a third war conflict?
After a great problem for humanity has passed, another bigger crisis will come. Rain, blood, milk, metal, and more. Dun pa lang sa metal, I think, ang tinutukoy ni Leonard dito ay another world war. Na-amaze ako kasi halos parehas lang din kami ni Leonard eh.
On a world scale. Could it be that the COVID vaccine will be useless? Could it be that the virus will mutate and now we will have to accept living the rest of our lives behind masks and extreme care to avoid infections? Studies believe that the next crisis refers to an earthquake that could literally shake the United States, and that in fact, it is what Nostradamus refers to as a giant that will fall. You see, in all of America there is a geological phenomenon called the Ring of Fire, points that concentrate the main sources of volcanic eruptions and earthquakes in the region. Some believe it could be 2021, when an earthquake awakens the sleeping giant of Yellowstone. An earthquake that will shake the San Andreas Fault, making events very similar to those that were cinematically shown in the movie 2012. Note that due to those coincidences, that movie was created due to the Mayan calendar and other predictions that pointed to the year 2012 as the end of the world. But what if they mixed up the last two numbers, and it was really
Ang creepy naman ito. 2012 daw yung, di ba, usap-usapan dati, 2012 yung end of the world, pero gaya ng sinabi ni Leonor, what if nagkamali lang sila ng pagkaka-arrange ng numbers? Ang creepy.
2021. Something to ponder. Although this is nothing more than theories without strong evidence, there is something that is indeed beginning to worry. It turns out that a few months ago in Chile, a country also subject to the belt of fire, small earthquakes have been occurring that remind the citizens of that country a lot of what happened months before the great earthquake of 2010. Let's not forget that this country was the scene of one of the largest earthquakes in memory. In 2010, 8.8 on the Richter scale was what the seismographs marked that night, leaving hundreds of deaths and hundreds of damage to infrastructures that were in fact raised with these earthquakes in mind. The worrying thing is that throughout 2010, small tremors that were increasing in intensity were the ones that foreshowed that earthquake of great magnitude. Something since August 2020 has been repeating in Chile. constant tremors that awaken a bitter memory in Chileans. Scholars of these prophecies believe that such an earthquake could cause a domino effect that could culminate in the San Andreas Fault. There are many scientists who hope that very soon in the city of Los Angeles, the big one will occur. An earthquake that would be catastrophic, finding its origin in the San Andreas.
Hindi ba sa Los Angeles yun yung nitong nakaraan lang? Yung nag-iba yung kulay ng sky? Sa Los Angeles ba yun? Correct niyo ako guys kung mali yung pagkasabi ko. Ang dami ng strange na nangyayari, no?
Fault. An earthquake that would not only leave losses in the economy and infrastructures, but the most regrettable thing would undoubtedly be the thousands of human lives that will be lost.
Interesu.
Is humanity
Grabe,
prepared to
lakas na.
face what we are on the verge of experimenting, according to the Nostradamus quatrains? Will we witness all this during 2021? Only unstoppable time will give us the answers to that. Stay alert and take care. My name is Leonor Clay, and this was The Darkest Secret. See you until next year.
Whoa, Leonard Clay. So guys, anong sa tingin nyo? Kung may mga idea kayo or pananaw tungkol dito sa hula ni Nostradamus na inexplain ni Leonard Clay, free kayong mag-comment. Kahit anong comment yan, malugod nating tinatanggapin sa channel natin upang may matutunan din yung mga viewers natin, especially ako din, 'di ba? So guys, hanggang dito na lang muna. Hanggang sa susunod na video, himay-himayin ulit natin ng mga video ng paranormal or conspiracy o ano pa man yan. Kung may mga video kayo na gustong ipanood sa akin and malaman yung comment ko about doon, comment nyo lang guys, lagay nyo yung link, panoorin natin yan. So hanggang dito na lang muna guys. Maraming salamat. Paalam. Bye.
Sarado ng mga isipan, sigurado na may pagsisisihan. Sa daloy ng mga isipan, siguradong kita ko karunungan. Huwag mo sara at lumata para makita rin to ng iba. Tumatak na sa utak nila, sistema minanipula. Buksan mo na, tatlong mata. Buksan mo na, tatlong mata.